Hello everybody, give me 1 second. I started this stream without configuring my audio. So let me just make this mono so it makes both of your ears happy. That might work. Okay, cool. Alright, I hope both of your ears can hear me now. So this is a little bit different. This is a little different than what I have done in the past. And I'm going to show all of this. But what you're looking at right now is a concept that I've had in my head for a while. I don't know what to call it, which is why I named it the question mark ogram. But essentially what it is doing right now is, I don't know how bad my, I think I'm going to stop recording because I don't know if my stream quality was impacted. But what this is a program that is tracking my face and then conveying that. I stepped out of range there. And then conveying that to an Unreal Engine project. In the Unreal Engine project, I have a camera that receives DMX control, and my app outputs artnet depending on where my face is. Now, OBS is really stuttery right now, but my computer is also doing quite a bit. But let me show you, let me switch back to my PC view. Let me show you exactly what's going on here. While I bring up this stream, please stand by. I want to see if anybody says any stuff or things. I want to be able to talk back. All right, I am here. If anybody says any. So now I get to show you guys what's happening underneath this hood. I do want to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. I know this isn't quite DMX lighting in Unreal, but it is something I've been working on for a really long time. And I want to show you guys that it's available to you as well. I forgot what I was doing here for a second. I have to exit out of this. And so, yeah, Patreon supporters, you guys are pushing me to do greater things than I thought was possible. So, thank you. I will bring up my Unreal Engine. So, the first step of this is... That's a weird that I saw the purple there. What was that? It's this light. That's strange. It's the aliens. Alright, hello. So what this is doing, you can see this green box around my face. This is tracking my face in real time. And in my settings here, I have several options. So you can see that my webcam is a bit too high. Still is. You can see that I have the option between what's called deep learning model or the hard cascades model. Hard cascades is used in more security cameras, so it's not quite as smooth. It's a little jittery. And if I rotate my head in any direction, it's really easy to lose tracking. I have the option to output artnet based on where my face is, or I have the option to output MIDI. But right now I'm outputting artnet because it's double the resolution of MIDI. I have a buffer of the frames of my positions, and so I can decide how smooth and latent I want it to be. The lower the number, the faster the response is going to be, but the more jittery it's going to be. And then if I do like a buffer size of 10, it's going to take 10 frames of my position, and then let me make sure everything's good on the stream. Yeah, it's going to take 10 frames of my position, average them out, and the single position that I get for that frame is going to be the average of those 10 positions. It's outputting 60 frames of artnet per second, or MIDI. And then I'll show the rest once I open up the stream. The capture device input index is a little tricky because I can list the devices that are available, but I cannot select those by name. So let's start this stream, and I'll show you the right column. So DMX IP address, that is the destination IP. So if I were talking to another computer on the network and that IP address was, say, 10.0.0.2, I would punch 10.0.0.2 in to this DMX IP. Where's my cursor? Oh. I would punch in 10.0.0.2. If I wanted to broadcast to all devices on the network, I would put 3255. So it would be 10.255.255.255. Anyway, the DMX left value is the value that goes up. Right now, if my head is center, you can even see this in Unreal. All of my values are close to 0. 6 is my depth. So, or how close my face is. So because I'm center, all of my values are pretty close to 0. As soon as I move my head to the left, and I do know that my DMX number is wrong there, but as I move my head to the left, this channel number 2 is going to go up towards 255. It's never going to reach 255 exactly because my face gets lost off the side and tracking gets lost before it could ever reach that. As I move to the right, value 3 is going to go up, or channel 2 of this output. If I go towards the top, you'll see that value 4 starts to go towards 255. And if I go to the bottom, which is a little harder on my back, you'll see that value 5 goes towards 255. And then the depth is my size. So as I roll back, you'll see that number decreasing. As I roll forward, you'll see that number increasing. And so those are the 5, that's X, or it's Y in Unreal, actually. Z in Unreal, and X in Unreal, or at least in this project. So how that corresponds in Unreal Engine is I have an end display, and I'll show you the blueprint. I'll show you the whole setup. This end display has a DMX component somewhere. Components, I added a DMX component to this so that the actual end display actor, it's a single actor in here containing the camera and the screen, that can receive DMX. Then in my event graph, I have what I would call my old DMX blueprint. This isn't a DMX fixture actor. That's actually an end display root actor, and I can't really change that. But I can use my old method of setting my fixture patch on event begin play with my DMX component as the target, and then I set this fixture patch to a custom fixture that I've created in Unreal Engine to hold my camera. I then, let me show you the fixture profile. Go to camera. All this is 5 honestly completely random channels. I just did something that I can remember. So if you remember, my first 2 channels are left and right, so I did red and green as a pair. My second, third and fourth channel, or my second pair, third and fourth channel, is my top and bottom. And so that is set to cyan and magenta. And then I attributed dimmer to my depth. Then in my end display actor, where did everything go? My end display actor is set to that fixture patch, and on fixture patch received, I do print that, but I can delete this. And then I thought that I had to come from here. I guess either are working. I then get my normalized attributes value map, which corresponds to my DMX values and attributes right here. I get those, and these range from 0 to 1. So this is my left, this is my right. So what I did so that this can become one value is multiply this by -1, so that now this ranges to 1, this ranges from 0 to -1. I add those two together because these two will never be active at the same time. There is no way that left value can be up at the same time right value is up, because if my face is on this side, it's going to do the left value. As soon as my face crosses 0 and goes to the right side, or as soon as my face crosses the midway point and goes to the right side, it's going to use this right value. So you'll never see these two values up at a time. Now I have a value that ranges, after this plus, I have a value that ranges from -1 to 1. I then divide that by 2 so that it's -5 to 0.5, or sorry, -0.5 to 0.5, and then I add 0.5 to that so that it becomes 0 to 1 again, but this time combining these two and treating them as one channel. After I do that, I had a print string on here, which I'm going to keep for now. And then this 0 to 1 value lerps. This part I don't quite get why. Oh, this 80, that is the distance in centimeters. Let's go to my camera. That 80 you saw is the distance between my webcam and the furthest that my face can go without dropping out of the frame. So if I bring up this camera, it is 80 is the furthest that my face can go, centimeters from the center line of my webcam, before it loses tracking. And so if I do that, then I can say, okay, if I go to the left side, give me 80. If I go to the right side, give me -80. And you might have to play with these a little bit. After I do all that, then I pass that value that ranges from -80 to 80, or whatever variable I set this to, and that becomes my location Y. Y in this case is being left to right. And if your project is turn 90 from how mine is, then yours will be X, possibly. But since it's a relative location, I would think it would stay as y. My up and down, so let's label these top. Let's label this bottom. My top and bottom are handled in the exact same way. So multiply 1 by -1, add them together, divide it by 2, and add 0.5 to it, and now I have a value that ranges from 0 to 1 again with these two values combined. So I have 512 steps in between instead of 255. This then goes to my z value. So z is -40. And the -40 pertains to, come on webcam, catch up. Something happened to my, there we go. So the -40 here, that corresponds to the distance in centimeters between the center point of this and the furthest up or down that my head will go without losing tracking, which I measured that to be about 40 centimeters. I just realized I can do video feedback with this, possibly. So that's handled and then goes to my z value. Now for going up and down, this will always be z. Then my dimmer is my depth, which is how far away or close my face is from the camera, or the size of that green dot. And if you do want to test this, by the way, you can just click on this green dot and move it around. And in that way, you can actually move your camera around and test things a little bit easier. Thanks, Doug. Oh, it's Doug. What's up, man? I'm going to keep this all caps. Thanks for joining me, Doug. It's good to see you. So, yeah, what this is a way to present 3D content on a 2D surface. And so you can do this with a video wall, projector. This is actually a similar concept to what happened in Mission Impossible, which I do kind of want to build that map roughly. I don't know if that's possible in a short time span. And so let me show you the end result again. Assuming that I've completed everything. Yeah, so this whole node set relative location with these 3 pinouts is what I use to set the camera's relative location. Now, this relative rotation, I have something doing very specific, and I want to show you something first by starting this simulation again. So let's save all of our assets, exit out. We do have to exit out because only one thing on the network can receive DMX at a time. So I'm going to start my end display device again. And by the way, I call this an idkogram. I have no idea what to call this, so I'm hoping some of y'all can help me come up with a name. So this is what the monitor sees. And if you notice, as my face moves, let me go to the camera, it's a bit better. You'll notice, let me tilt this up. You want the starting position of the viewer to be pretty center to the camera. So they should be looking directly down the camera's lens. Now, as I move, you'll notice that the corner, while the rest of the map moves, the corners of the map stay, or the corners of this feed stay very stationary. And I did that on purpose because I want to fool the eye to feel like the monitor is made of wood and it's not moving. And the only way to do that is to make sure that nothing moves off the corners. There is I don't see, I would like to believe that there is movement in the corners, but I really don't think there is. And I think the reason there is not any movement is because bring this down and bring my Unreal Engine back up. So yeah, any ideas if you guys know what to call this? I was thinking a stereo. Here, I'll type it out. There is the stereogram, which actually doesn't make sense because I'm not viewing it in stereo. So if that's the case, then monogram, because it works best when viewed from, if you have two eyes, this easily deceives. You can easily see through the illusion. So how I focus that, how I get the corners to stay, is one, I made this screen here to be the exact size of my monitor, or at least the exact resolution. And then in my blueprint, I adjusted the rotation to always stay centered on the plane. And if you notice this plane, everything is centered to the plane. So I tried really hard to make everything be right on the center of the plane. And then the camera gets the world location of the plane, which will be the center of it, unless it's a custom mesh and the center of it is somewhere else. But for the Unreal Engine, the center of the plane, or like its location, there we go. I was selected. Its location is the center. And so then I get the world location of the camera, and I find the look at rotation between the camera and the plane, and that becomes my rotation for the camera. And so in doing that, as I move my head around, it's always focused on the camera. If I select this, and then the other thing is that it's not rendering the perspective of the camera. What it's actually doing, I'm moving around right now, what it's actually doing is getting the perspective of the frustum on the end display, which is my monitor's size and the correct distance away from the camera, which the camera in this case is my eyes, or the camera that I'm using to shoot it. And the camera basically projects what is on, what the camera should be seeing, almost as if the camera was a projector projecting onto the screen. I know it's a little complicated. Here, let me show you how a bit better. If I take this plane and move it out, it's going to start doing things. And actually, I do want to see what happens if I push it behind the set. But you'll notice right there how you have that corner. This camera I'm really going to mess things up right now, aren't I? This camera is projecting onto it. So that area where you see where it's not, it doesn't look quite right. Oh, it's locked in the position, so I can't move it. But that's where the camera is not hitting. So that is the camera's entire viewport. Now, if I do go here and change the focus distance. Oh, not focus distance. That's the wrong attribute. Focal length, maybe? Yeah. So if I zoom this camera in, you'll notice that the frustum gets smaller and smaller because I'm zooming into a closer spot. And you can see from the camera view that that's where that lands. So if I revert this back to where it was and then move the plane back, you'll see the illusions start to come together again. So what I want to do now is try this with other situations. I want to describe a couple things that's working for this project to make it more believable. And I stumbled across some of these just by accident. This project was like the Unreal Engine project, was very quickly thrown together. And I was surprised at how well it worked and how believable it was. So, a couple things. One, you noticed while my screen was black, let me black out my screen again. I don't have the cleanest screen. And unless you're using an LED wall, I don't think it'll be possible to get a perfectly clean screen. Even on an LED wall, you're going to see imperfections. And so part of what I stumbled across in this creation is if your scene somewhat matches your actual physical screen, like I have a big dirt spot right there. As soon as this pulls up, you never see it. And the reason why is because look at that piece of wood. It is also shimmery and dirty, just like my screen. I don't know why it's not tracking my face. The other thing I did is adjust my lighting in the scene. So you notice I have a light, and I can show you where the light is once I get back in, but I want to spend a little time in here. Well, I put up a light right above there. Be a stream engineer and the recorder at once. Give me 1 second for this to catch up. Come on. Oh, there we go. So you'll see in my scene, I have a light that's... I positioned the light based off my real light. And so I have this light here intentionally to add context to the scene. And then the light in Unreal Engine does the same thing. And so actually you'll see like I have a little trim above my monitor right here. And the reflective light from Unreal Engine, because I put my lights in the same spot, is actually lining up with that reflection on my monitor. So that's helping. The other thing I think that's working for my favor is just that it's simple. It is a simple shape that everybody can identify with and knows. And as I move around it, it changes. And I think it's just barely, I think it's lightweight and subtle enough that it becomes believable. So let's go back into Unreal, and I want to try out some other applications of this, because I got some 3D scans that I want to use. So I'm going to try out one more application and then show you guys one other use case of it. And I can't, the other use case is for follow spots. If you want spotlights on a stage to track somebody, this app can help with that. So within my Unreal project here, I have this level. Let's duplicate this level so I can keep it. I don't want to lose it. Let's go to Visuals 1 and let's change this map up a bit. I'm going to do this in not quite a perfect way. What I have here is a scan of the beach, specifically some cliffs on the beach. And I have a feeling that because it's not, my monitor is a shimmery flat surface. This is a shimmery flat surface. I have a feeling that because I'm viewing a 3D object from a shimmery flat surface, it won't work. But a lot of this is experimental. So let's delete the plane. Oh, and I don't have a center ground now. I don't have a proper center for this. But let's drag this in and see what happens. I guess what I should be doing, this gizmo marks the center. So, theoretically, if I put this center, I can then play with the rotation of it. That should do something. We're going to get rid of these little balls and then get rid of the big ball. And what I feel like is going to happen, we'll see. I think I need to move this closer. All right, let's try that. I think I'm, you know what I should have done? Now I have to change this in end display. Oh, cool. Visuals 1. And then the other thing is in my end display, my plane is now gone. Or is it? Oh, my plane was my screen, so I can actually keep that. That's good to know that it's finding the center point of my screen as opposed to finding the center point of an object on the set. Because now I can actually move this around a bit more freely. But I do want to try this position first and see where that gets me. This is the first time I've tried something natural. Okay, oh, you can see all the polygons. Let's see what it looks like through the camera though, because my two eyes always tell a different story than what the camera sees. That looks somewhat 3D. But I feel like what sold it with the last illusion was the fact that the edges were flat. So let me do something different. We'll go back to simple. But I want to try making my own mesh. And this is just going to be a mesh with a dome cut in it. I can actually just keep this original cube, size it, and then I'm going to add we'll do a UV sphere. And I don't really need to UV map this from what I can predict. But, yeah, no, I would. So let's try something a little extreme for, well, I feel like subtlety is the key here. And then I'll do a Boolean ooh with, and you know what I'm gonna do is make more polygons. A lot more. Because I feel like seeing the edges of polygons really gives this away that it's a 3D CGI illusion. Okay, so that's my goal. Ooh, I think this is gonna look good. And then this is gonna be tricky to UV map. So if I put a material in here right now, actually that I kind of like that. I mean, it's going to be a wood texture, but I like how it warps. It is somewhat natural if somebody were to take a groove out of some wood. So let's keep all this. I'm going to clear out this material and then export this shape. Probably should have booted up my UE project while this was running. Thanks, Dougie. Yeah, I was so the original concept of this came from one of my friends, Roger Pugh. I don't know if you know him. And he said that it would be cool if you could have a digital fish tank. And that's what got my brain stirring on this years ago. He said that if you move your head, it should parallax the fish tank. So let's try this. I'm gonna delete this shape. Still following my head, which is just peachy. Dump this into my root content folder, which isn't really advised. I have no idea where I exported that thing. And I also exported the circle with it. So it's in documents, but I have to say limit to selected objects and then export. And then find my documents. Re-export it because for some reason on this computer I have two documents folders. And one's linked to OneDrive, which is pretty much the bane of my existence. Downloads, found it, import. Probably should have added some smoothing to it. I definitely should have, actually. But that's all right. This thing is enormous. And that's too small. There we go. Just right. So, you know what? Yeah, I will shrink this down. So given that this is my monitor, I want it to look like this is part of my actual monitor. So really should have extended these walls to be kind of my monitor's resolution. Oh, I don't want to extend it, I just want to scale it. That might work. I might need to do some UV mapping on that. Cool. So it updated. And now I can position this to be exactly where my monitor is supposed to be. Okay, I've got some weirdness here. What does this look like? Oh yeah, it is warping right there. Let's try it anyway, and I'm actually going to try it with this material, this just default material. See what happens if we use a grid material. Assuming everything's working, this should go 3D. I'm going to scale this up just a little bit. There we go. Save this, and then let's launch an end display and see what happens. Alright, that's not bad. I think I liked it when it was popping out better. But this does, actually, it depends on what way you look at it. It kind of looks like it's popping out at you. That's kind of weird. So I think one of the secrets to these is to lag the phone behind my head, because it's tracking my head and not the phone. I hope that on a future update I can make it track a QR code, but that'll come later. The other thing I think this could use is a very wide camera. This Logitech camera I'm using is not very wide. So let's go back. Actually, I want to try something. I mean, as I do this, I'm looking at my stream right now. As I do this, it is kind of deceiving. It looks like, assuming my camera catches up, hello, camera. Probably because I'm doing this over a wireless network. It sees it there. That, I don't know if this is what you guys are seeing or not. I have a feeling it is. Oh, there it catches. So if I look at the screen, yeah, it feels like I'm about to feel a ridge there, but I'm not. Let's go back to Unreal. I might want to show you guys real quick a little bit more of this software. And so I want to show you what happens if I give it a buffer size of 1. What this means is that the position that it sees every frame is the position that gets fed to it. So you can see my thing, it's a little bit shakier now. Let's see what it does to the camera though. I feel like it does make it more responsive, but you can see the jitters as well, especially on the further depths. Let's try something, and we're going to add some motion to this scene. See what happens. So this is going to actually be back. Oh, isn't that cool? Oh, never mind. Yeah, Doug, it is freezing. It's because my computer's doing a lot. When it's rendering this, one computer is rendering this in real time. It's also performing the face tracking and the buffer with this app. And then in OBS, it is spitting all of this out on a string. So I expect my GPU to be asking me why I want to do this. Let's go back to my other map, and I'll try a different material just to, or you know what I can do that might be neat? Is let's give this a really rough rock texture. Well, let's try with the sphere. And I want to see what happens if I use a displacement map. Although for a correct displacement map, I would need this to be in many different things. So maybe wood is the most believable material right now. What was rock? What happens if this is rock as well? Ooh, you know what? Marble would look good. And the other thing is this is a bit big. So let's lower this down. And it will sort of compress those textures. That might make things a little bit more believable. So what I want to do is, you know, I can do this all in Unreal. I want to make one of these circles orbit around it, kind of like a planet. So I'm going to make this be, I'll make this be the marble. Oh, I already have marble on there. Then I'm going to add place actors. Gonna add just a blank actor. And I'm gonna copy this location. And then place my new actor at the very dead center of this. Then I'm going to parent this sphere as soon as I set its mobility to movable. I can parent this sphere to the actor. And then add a rotator, component. I know I've done this. Rotating movement. And let's say rotation rate. I kind of want it to be slow and subtle, so let's say 8 degrees. And I can hit play and just see how that is. It's not the direction I wanted. A note, I'm using the rotating movement on the actor, not the sphere itself. Which I could actually do it to this as well. So let's say 5 degrees, and then this one is going to be 8 degrees. And that would make, yeah. Actually, where's it going? Okay, so if I'm gonna do that, I need to move this plane back and allow this to rotate around it completely. So I just need enough to fill the screen. And maybe extend a little past. There we go. And now let's just try something here. If this is moving right, maybe I have to put it on the Z. There we go. So now I gave it an orbit around that. If I am going to do an orbit, this does have to be center. And then here's what I want to try. I have this incredible Earth asset. It is quite an incredible Earth. Yeah. Please work. Yeah, you prepare those shaders. Prepare them good, because this gonna look good. And then, is there a sun? Oh, I could do... Please be the Earth. Appears that approach didn't work. What I could do, though, is just go to Fab and buy a really tiny Earth. Or even like CG Trader. Let's try Fab. That way it can be an Epic Games asset. Ooh, free assets. Let's claim these free real quick. Take. Am I even signed in? Yep, this is me. I'm glad I left these in my cart because I don't really want them. But I will take this. Everybody should be getting these assets every month. Even though Fab doesn't quite work sometimes. Alright, let's find an Earth. Ooh. Yeah, Earth and clouds. I don't want that sunlight on there. $3.99. Okay, the Earth is not that shiny. Let's go with the $5.99 one. Yeah, that's good. Why are you doing this? Now if I refresh, will it be something in my cart? Oh, it's because I didn't select a license. Okay, and then I want a moon. Is this one already lit? It's unlit enough. Mr. MD Walier Rahman, I am totally buying your product. And I will debut it live. But thank you for creating such a good Earth. That's a brand of tea. Good Earth. It is very good. This is me. To my one person watching, thank you. You are making me very happy. You are making me a happy person. So I'm gonna go to... Oh! Well, someone just spent $5.99 for nothing. Although I feel like I can use a more efficient Earth. Considering it's still preparing the textures, this is going to take forever on an end display. Let's clear this. It's still going to keep preparing the textures, unfortunately. And then it's going to add all of that to my render cache. My GPU is not happy right now about all this. What was that app I bought? Or the asset? Earth. It was called Earth. Fab sometimes takes a long time. I guess what I'll do in the meantime is show you what else this app can do. And that is for spotlights. So let's say I have I just want to bring in a generic fixture. It's just my thing's backed up right now because it's still trying to prepare the textures from that. Find a pseudo. I have a lot of fixture patches in here, and it's not quite the best way to go about it. But here 10%, that should work. So let's patch A or 10%, and we'll do it on universe 2. And let's actually add 2 of these. You know what? Let's go crazy and add 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, go to my visuals. For this one, we're going to need some sort of plane for us to be on. And then let's say this is currently emulating. This isn't for a interactive install. This is more emulating a lighting rig for doing follow spots. So I got 4 movers hanging from a truss. Is there a truss in here? There is. All right, got 4 movers hanging from a truss. They are addressed I guess I should try to address the lights instead of the truss. And then because these are fixtures, DMX fixture classes, I could address all 4 incrementally. And then this should be 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Give me a second to break out my Granime wing so I have some an actual lighting console, and then I will be back. But in the meantime, I want to do a shout out to my Patreon subscribers, because y'all are the reason I can try stuff like this. If you're wondering why I didn't have my wing out prior to starting this video, it's because I put it away right before this video. Because sometimes my brain just don't work. But on the days it does, oh man, it doesn't those days either. So what I'm doing is running my lighting console to a different computer, because for some reason this computer doesn't handle DMX very well. I'm going to take a quick pause. All right, as promised, I am back. You know what? I am going to... I had so many DMX issues last time I tried to use this computer. I will show you guys what I'm doing in Granime, but it won't actually be executed on this computer. Okay, MA is booting up. Bro, these trusses are not bolted. In fact, if you want to be a funny guy, then we go to all of these. Where is physics? Yeah, simulate physics. Apparently the fixtures cannot simulate physics. And then when I hit play, yeah, they are not bolted. So sorry about that. I will try to bolt my trusses next time. So in GrandMA, I guess I gotta go key for key. Yeah, I couldn't turn on a light fixture, or couldn't simulate physics with these moving heads. Where is MA? Ah, here's MA. Wow, this is really small. And I kind of forget how to change that. Ah, there we go. All right. So we're gonna start a new show. And then I'm going to go to patch, go to Ayrton Perseo in standard. I think that's what I have in Unreal Engine. Quantity, I got 4 of them. Oh, and they are actually at universe 2001. I'll save that, and then give me a second for me to do this on the actual machine that I'm doing it on. All right, so on my laptop now I've got 4 Ayrton Perseos patched. And so the trick to this is, I haven't actually done this in MA 3 yet. But basically I would call those, where is it? I need to enable shortcuts. I would call fixture 1 through 4. Come on. 1 through 4. And those do have my my pan and tilt, and I only have one type of fixture, so I know that those are my, in fact, my Ayrton Perseos. And so what you would do is sort of guess what a center position would be. Probably pan at 0, tilt at 75. And then store this to 1 fader. That's going to be kind of your base. In fact, I can move this to like over here. This is not going to be in our active 5. And I want to delete this. Then I'm going to say all 4 lights go to a position that is off center to the left a bit. Store that as a fader. Go off center to the right a bit. Store that as a fader. I think I had this. Yeah, this is negative 30, positive 30. And actually I did that wrong. I'm sorry. You want to do your pan values in your fixtures, and then off by hitting off. Turn off your tilt. Deactivate that parameter because you want left to control only the pan. So I store that as 1. Go to the right side, turn off my tilt, store that as 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing to my tilt. I don't need to change this. So I'm going to go down by 25 here, which would make it 50. And then turn off my pan. Actually, I would want to go, let's see, if towards 0 is down. Yeah, so this would be my down position. And then store my up position, which would be 100. Turn off my pan and go to there. And then the depth parameter would go to my depth parameter would go to my zoom. There it is. So if my face is very far away, let's say it would be a zoom parameter of 5, or as narrow as it'll get. And then I have to do the spinny thing. Somebody said spinning is not a way. It seems to be for my versions. Well, actually, narrow here would be held in, as my face gets closer, the value would go up. So narrow, let's delete this. Narrow would be held in this temporary, in this kind of stagnant parameter, and then my wide would get stored to fader 5. And then what I do is in menu, and I realized I can just film my screen on the other computer, so I'm going to do that. But in and out, I would find a DMX remote, and I would add new ones, and then map all 5 of those DMX channels to that DMX remote. The other thing I would want to do is hit, I think it's Control A or maybe Alt A, assign, and change all of these to be temp. And I probably should have just saved as a default and then made all of these temp from the get-go. And then what would happen is, if we go to position, this would, if I'm gravitating towards left, it would move this pan without moving the tilt. Once I start going up, let's see, it's something happened here. This is supposed to be here because that's my bottom value. And then this needs to be 100 with this set to off. And that gets stored there as a temp fader. And that way, this can control my pan. And then this can control, why is it? Oh yeah, because that's bottom. This can control my tilt. So these two can move independently of each other. Even though both of these will never be up at the same time, both of these two, and then both of these two will never be up at the same time. Let me just switch to my NDI camera, and I'll show you this being set up from my other computer. Keyboard's kind of blocking some of my screen right now. So this is my laptop that's actually running Granime. So patch, I've got 4 Diablo Perseus. Oh, they were Ayrton Diablos, now they're Perseus. In standard mode, patched at 2001. I think I'm going to unpatch this because I don't think these DMX breaks are correct. Yeah. Oh, no, they were. So save and exit. And then I should see DMX to Unreal Engine soon. So let's go to menu, network, Ethernet 2 at 10.002 is correct. And I do have a session running. So now I should go to DMX protocols, artnet enable. This is interesting. I'm going to have artnet going both ways. Let's try this. This is why I call it open development. Because sometimes stuff gets not quite what we expected. But I'm sure somebody on show is going to encounter this. Okay, so I'm outputting out of 10.002 with 10 universes starting at 1. Now if I exit out and go to DMX activity monitor, there we go. I can see those, and I know that if I... Oh wow, this has stopped working a long time ago. Well, sorry if it is freezing. Yeah, it's freezing a lot. So they're fixtures 1 through 4. If I go fixtures 1 through 4, add that, I can see those values go up, and if I press the blackout, you can see them go. And it looks like I am actually controlling my Unreal Engine DMX fixtures right now. So that's good. What I'm going to do now, since I just showed that the NDI camera isn't working. Why is it still flashing? Oh, it's probably because my shutter is wrong on here. So on all these, I'm just going to delete the strobe component. Nope, that didn't work. I had this same issue at another time. Like on another stream. And the reason why is that what I'm working on right now. I'm altering engine on content right now, and I'm probably going to regret it. Alright. Yeah, I had the same issue with Perseus on the last Unreal Engine thing I did. So what I'm going to do is just switch to washes, because nobody likes this pulse. I don't really see why that didn't work though. There it is. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. So I got my shutter in a position where those stay on. Then I can change my pan and tilt values and move these movers around. So what I'm going to do is start saving this stuff in GrandMA. So I'm going to delete my fader 1. And then I'm going to make my home position. So that would be zoom all the way in, tilt it up, and then I'm going to align all of these into each other. There we go. I'm going to store that as my default position. That's on fader 10 right now. And then this thing's kind of in the way right now. Store my right or my left position. Oh, and you know what? I did that wrong again. So activate all those, and then I need to turn off my tilt, and then store that. Then assign my left position as temp. And now, as I push over that way, I start moving that way. Let's clean up that position actually. Actually, yeah, so this is one sort of limitation I'm discovering of using this as a follow spot, is that as your pan values change, so are your tilt values, but your tilt values need to be released by your pan. So that makes a bit of a conundrum. So that said, this is technically correct where it's at. We just need to be aware of that. So my fader 1 currently, as I push it up, you know, I can use my webcam for this too. Okay, so let's just turn this camera around. So as I push fader 1 up, this moves that way. I'm going to repeat that for my other ones. So let's go to through 4. I'm going to pan them to the right now. Sorry about that. So pan to the right, and then off on my tilt, and then store that to fader 2. And then 1 through 4, fader 3 is going to be my tilt value. So I can bring this up just a bit. And this is going to make more sense if, when I do a physical demo of this. But for now, we'll see where this gets us. I just want to show you guys the implementation. So I raised my tilt values. I'm going to turn off now my pan values. And then store that to fader 3. Then bring down my tilt to represent them walking downstage. And again, turn off my pan because it always turns on. And then store that to fader 4. Now my zoom or my depth is going to be 1, I want to make this a little bit wider, especially given that I cannot properly account for tilt discrepancies on the wider fixtures. So I'm going to zoom this up, and then store this into here, into my default queue that's holding this position and holding the my default zoom. And then I'm going to go to 1 through 4 again. Oh, hey, my camera finally irised. 1 through 4 again, and zoom it pretty much all the way out. And then that is going to be stored as fader 5. So once I have all of that, I can now show you what the DMX remotes are going to do once I pipe them in. This is going to move them to the left. As soon as I assign these all as a temp. Okay, let's see if I got all of my parameters correct in here. So if I push this up, it'll go pan that way. Wrong fader. And then if they walk up, it goes up. If they walk downstage, it goes down. Then the zoom will be ridden by the depth of it. So I should be able to, come on. Yeah. Everything's free from one another. So now I need to put these in as DMX remotes. This is where it might get tricky. So I have to lose this camera now. Return back to my PC, because now this camera is going to be used for the face tracker. let's fire up my stream, and then my destination IP this time is going to be 10.0.0.2. Everything looks good. I'm going to increase my buffer size to smooth this out. Oh, and then if you are using this for a spotlight application, you could do this thing I created called define stage area. And when you do that, it starts up the camera that is going to be used to track the talent. And then you click to define a polygon. So I'm going to click here, here, here. And then if you need to cut out like a video wall or something, you can do that just by clicking around the video wall. As soon as I close that, you're going to see in the terminal stage area closed right there. And what that means is that this has created a complete polygon. I hit escape and it saves that stage area, and now I can start my stream. And so I'm going to be looking for this stream. And now I can show it. I'm going to be looking for this stream on the Grandma 2. So it should be outputting right now. Should be able to go to in and out, DMX remotes, and I should specify. Yeah, this should be fine because it's coming in on DMX Universe 0 right here. So here it should be coming in on, well, let's just see. Maybe it'll show an artnetometer. I'm not seeing this stream in artnetometer. Give me a second to sort of diagnose this. Alright, I just set my GrandMA DMX protocols. I wish I should have set this up ahead of time. Why did it freeze? Things be frozen. All right, I'm gonna take it easy on my PC. Give me a little bit to figure this out. Oh, there is something on here called input. So I set this to broadcast. Set this to input. Then I should be able to fire this up. Okay, something is currently taking my Logitech camera. it's not sending artnet the same way it did previously. Okay, now it says it's sending. But I'm not seeing it. I don't think this is going to work because my webcam is still up. Yeah, so I couldn't grab the frame. Error binding artnet socket. So it's probably because I've got this up as well. So let me try to get things up one step at a time. In the same way that I did before. So first, with nothing running, no other things to steal my DMX or my webcam, I should be able to start this stream. But I still don't see anything on my other computer. So I want to try if I do this. I still don't. Yeah, still error binding artnet socket. I wonder, because this computer has had artnet issues in the past. I have it on this other computer. Alright, so now I can see my face tracking data coming from my other computer. Now if I turn my head, I will lose it, but I can see it coming across. So I could use that. So let's try what I just did. Is use the IP address 255.255.255.255. Yep, so something, it's not in the app. It's this computer and how it handles ArtNet. It's the same problem that I had on a different stream. So I got to get to the bottom of that and probably just reboot or reset this computer. So what I'm going to do is use Facetrack on this computer. And then should be able to all right, I have the face tracking data going to the host computer that's running GrandMA. So let me bring back up GrandMA. Not window capture. All right. So now we're back to some business. So I'll just show you on screen what's happening. Says GrandMA needs more video memory. It'll be fine without it. And then I have my DMX IP set to this machine's IP address 2002. And in artnetometer, I can see that data changing. This is coming in on universe 10 as I specified. This is just because of my flash drive. So then let's see if I can go to, I know that's not very clear for y'all. DMX protocols. In and out. This is the fader. I believe that's try sequence 4. Ah, here we go. Okay, there we go. Alright, well, you know what? I have not yet done... I did this in MA2, and it was quite a bit easier. Okay, this is it. I'm not seeing my faders move, so I'm not getting the remote input that I needed. So I think I'm going to have to have this occur at another time. Oh wait, DMX remote. Oh, address. I never set the address. So it'll be 10.002. Let me give it one more whack. Let's definitely address 2. Alright, well, I'm going to stop with this endeavor. I showed you how the remotes would get sent from this app. And I showed you kind of the basic layout of what I'm trying to do. I just can't get this remote input to work, even though I can show you that the face tracking is sending. If you look at these values on artnetometer, I know it's kind of hard to see through this camera, especially with this light here. But as I move this around, the values are being received on this computer. I just don't have them in my GrandMA. Yeah, I should see my little motorized fader moving right now. So let's get out of this. Sorry that this didn't work. But I think ultimately I just didn't quite I did remote inputs in GrandMA 2, and I thought it would be a pretty similar thing, but turns out it's not. Now what I do want to do is finish up a bit in Unreal Engine and make a bit more of these idkograms. Let's open up our Unreal Engine project. Then I'm going to want to go back to my visuals, my first visuals level, and that's where I was making this earth thing. Let's get rid of our little lighting rig. Sorry, little lighting rig. I'll use a real lighting rig. How's that sound? So hopefully Fab has caught up by now. Apparently not. I don't get it. Is it that time of night midstream where nothing works? Let's see then, if I go back to Fab, Oh, that's why it's not showing here, because it's a 3D model um, instead of an Unreal Engine asset. All right, there's the GLB model. That's all I need. That already looks like the moon. I don't even think I need to. I don't even think I need to get a moon. That was a fun effect. Let's go a little bigger. All right. So now that I have that, if I go into play, yes, that is correct. Except that it still goes behind the wall. So actually what I'm going to do is just bring it in a bit. Okay, that's cool. And then my directional light, I'm going to turn this way down. And then project settings, I'm going to want to turn auto exposure off. Cool. And then possibly even throw in a spotlight. Why not? There. Oh, it kind of looks like something. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, and then I just want to see this rotate. Oh, I need to set this to movable. All right, there we go. And then moon, I'm going to set its rotator to be a bit faster. There we go, now we're getting somewhere. Alright, I think this is going to look kind of cool. Let's save everything, and then we'll bring this down. Load up end display, and then load up our Facetracker app. Or load up the wrong level. Okay, let's make sure our level loads first. That already looks good. 10.0069. Deep learning, artnet. This. Send this back to DMX Universe 1. Yeah. Okay, and then this should make it pop into 3D. So let me pull out my phone. Hope that the NDI works correctly. And for this one, I'm going to turn my overhead light off. Or maybe just down. And pointed more at my face. Okay. I don't see artnet or tracking or anything 3D. Nor do I see my NDI phone. So let's go back to there. Now I can see my face better. So let's go to artnetometer and make sure we are outputting. We are. So I wonder if I just sent it to the wrong universe. Because yeah, it was on 0 before. Looks cool, but I got a little bit to do. And this NDI camera is not working. All right, there it is. This may have been messing things up. I had an output port this whole time. So what I'm wondering is, why am I not receiving? Oh, it might be because artnetometer is up. Yeah, there it is. There's my face. It's because I had artnetometer running. So it does look like it's still staying focused on there. What I do need to do, though, I faced an artistic conundrum in that I need this moon to go behind the Earth. But I also need this solid plate here. Okay. So I need this plane here to sell the illusion. What if I lowered the opacity of it? That would make it present and there representing my screen, but I would still be able to see through it. Kind of like that. Maybe even do a different... I just want to see through it a little bit. Okay. My face should still be being tracked. I don't see the camera moving. Oh, there we go. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so the opaque background is a little bit distracting. I think what I'm going to do is do the solid rock background, and just on the moments that, well, you know what? I could make it rotate around the Earth differently. But I think for now I'm just going to allow the moon to clip in front of that plane and enjoy the moments where the moon is in front of the plane. I don't know why things are running so slow. There we go. And this. Okay. Let's see what this looks like through the eye of a two-dimensional lens. So it looks like the Earth starts to make, well, it does look pretty 3D there. From my perspective, it looks like it's popping out a lot more than is necessary. Come on, unfreeze, unfreeze. What's weird about this NDI thing freezing is it's not my, it's actually an OBS that's doing it. There we go. I just want to get one clean shot. So let me start from over here. And then when the moon comes around, so I think what's cool is how it looks. I think the context isn't matching up though. So I'm gonna do a few more. That's when I'm just moving my head around. So technically, you yourself, if you're watching this and you close one eye and move to the right side of your screen now, and then slowly move to the left, might look a little 3D. It's fooling my eye a little bit. But you gotta close one eye. Otherwise everything kind of goes out the window. I have tried removing the black background before. And it doesn't, once I lose the black background, then there's no context or closure. So I still think the best use was just the plain wood at the beginning. So I'm gonna end the stream at this. So thank y'all for watching. I know the center part of this with the I'm not even live. I know the center part with this, with getting the DMX back and forth between computers wasn't working out that well. So thank y'all, and hope to see you around sometime. And I will be producing a couple more videos like this. I do want to work on the DMX fixture library for Unreal Engine. But until then, thank you, everybody. Stay strong, stay healthy. There's weird viruses going around right